Christian Parenting.
Hey guys, welcome to the Christian Parenting Podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're pumped.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun conversation. We've already covered quite a bit before recording, so then we're just going to record and just see what happens.
Sounds great.
That's perfect.
Yeah. I always just start jumping right into introduce yourselves. Tell us about your family. Tell us what you do. Just share a little bit about your journey so we can get to know you.
Yeah, we are Dan and Sam. We have, we share life online. We are Dan and Sam. We have 2 kiddos. Canyon is almost 9, Ember's 7, and we have 1 on the way. I've done 2 surrogacy journeys. We've lived in an RV full time. We've traveled in it. We renovated RVs. We love travel. Anything you can possibly think of that's crazy and wild, we've probably done.
And now we live in a house. And so I feel like in the RV van life community, we're sellouts.
Yeah.
But we kind of love it. We have a pool. So
In a
we spend a lot of
neighborhood.
time in that.
Yeah.
And
we
you're
have a fun
building,
life.
Sam, you're nesting. So you're building all the furniture that you have
my
to
gosh.
have a house for.
Yeah, and I want to redo rooms that we just redid like a year ago.
I feel like building the furniture is the easy part. Dealing with all of the cardboard packaging is the difficult part.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they just had like a machine that shredded cardboard.
I think I
on
need
the
to
spot would
give
be
a
great.
gift to like our trash guy and our recycle guy because they just they work overtime for us.
That is so real, though.
Yeah.
I think someone could make a fortune just hauling boxes away.
Oh,
from
yeah.
people's houses.
Yes.
Or
Every
reusing
week.
them. Probably better to be you haul them away and then you reuse them. All the Amazon boxes that come to my house are actually embarrassing.
Yeah, it's same. It's sad, but
And
it's
we-
also fun.
We host a lot, so we have a lot of people that will come from out of town, stay here, and they're like, oh, we'll help. And they take a whole box, not broken down, and put it in the recycling bin. And I'm like, you just took up 12 boxes worth of space. I have a system. I got to do this right.
And yeah, he uses a box cutter and cuts them down into strips. So they pack in there. You could put, he 10X's his space in a dumpster just by doing that. But I mean, it works.
That's adult life, worrying about cardboard disposal.
No, that's husband's life.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
amen.
go.
Wife's life is just chucking the box in the garage.
Wife
Yes,
life is
that'll go
pressing
away.
order.
Shopping online.
Oh, it's so true.
So
Okay.
accurate.
Well,
There's a
we
little
are
about
kind
us. We like shopping.
and we're talking about all those things. We're talking about
Yeah.
adventuring
Mhm.
and just choosing an adventure with your family. And everything you're describing is that, from living in an RV and just living this wild, fun life to a surrogacy journey. It's just been an adventure for you guys. And I think
Yeah.
it's such a fun topic and kind of challenging. For me, I love an adventure. I love
Mhm.
doing fun, spontaneous, unique things. We love traveling as a family. We've gone to some fun places. But the reality is school is a thing and activities and jobs, and you just settle into a routine. And it's so easy to fall into that. And then all of a sudden you're like, ooh, we need to get out and adventure a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that. Why is embracing adventure, big and small ones, really a good idea for families?
I think starting out for me, it was the memory and the time with my family. I grew up with a single mom, and so she worked several jobs. We have some amazing memory of some fun camping trips, going to visit our family, going to the beach. But I didn't get as much day-to-day quality time with her because she was working. It was just those couple times a year trips where those memories I still hold on to, but I wanted some more daily memories. That we wanted that with our kids, and we wanted to not only have those yearly vacations with them, but in the small, mundane, ordinary day, how can we create those memories? Is it building a fort downstairs? Is it playing in the mud outside or doing a slip and slide in our own yard? Or is it packing everything in an RV and taking a trip? So for me, definitely just the quality time with family that in our new family.
Yeah, I feel like with our kids, they're going to grow up and remember that we were present in the day-to-day, but those big trips and breaking out of the ordinary routine is what really sticks with them. So if we do build a tree fort or go on a family bike ride through the neighborhood, go to a spot that we've never been, or a park or a cave, those are the things that when we talk to them, they'll just bring up remember that time we crawled in a cave and got really, really scared? And we're like, yep, we remember. There was a bat and it almost bit me. I'm like, that's not quite what happened, but I'm glad you remember. And they crave that stuff. I mean, with us and doing social media and YouTube's, one of their favorite things to do now is watch our YouTube videos back.
Yeah.
And so
Mm.
for me, that like that was in the form of my mom's printed pictures.
Mhm.
She had literally millions of
So
pictures
many.
that she had taken, printed off, marked, scrapbooked with. And so we would go back and look through those. Well, for the kids, they watch on YouTube and they're like, we want to do that again.
Yeah.
Can we have some friends with, and we can all go on a family side by side trip or camping trip, or let's go float on the river. And so I just feel like anything that breaks out of the norm is what the big memories, the lasting memories are going to be made for
Yeah.
family.
There's a stat I heard recently where it was like 90% of a child's memories are those adventures where it may not be going to London or something for a trip, but it's like going camping as a family or going on, a fun backyard adventure. Those are those core memories that stick with them for years that they look back on. In a parenting side, as a child, they don't see the hours of packing and unpacking and cleaning the car after a road trip or the meltdowns that they had. Like, I was in the car yesterday with the kids and we were talking about Disney. We recently went on our first like family Disney trip and the kids loved it. It was like 10 out of 10 for them. Dan and I were like, well, it was like a 5 because
Yeah.
there was a lot of money involved. It was hot. I'm pregnant. I'm sweating. Things were expensive to like get there. Canyon had like 10 meltdowns in the first like 2 hours. Like it was a lot.
Every store, he wanted the first toy that he saw.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, you might find something better, but I want this one.
He didn't like waiting in the lines. And so when we were driving yesterday talking about, the kids were like, we love Disney. Can we go back? And I was like, Canyon, do you remember when you had a couple meltdowns like twice in the Dumbo line waiting for the ride? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, do you realize that that probably wasn't, needed at the time? He was like, yeah. I'm like, did you still like it? Have fun? Yeah. I'm like, all right, well, we're not going to go back this soon, but maybe eventually. But they don't, they don't remember those things. We do, but it's worth it to put aside the hard work that we put in as parents to make those trips possible because of they only see the good in a memory. They only see, we went to Disney and I got to eat popcorn and I got to ride these rides and I got to see my cousins and I got to spend time with my family. Like that's what matters. So it helps make the trip worth it and not as like draining in a sense on us as parents.
Yeah. So we fly into Orlando to visit my sister. And so
Yeah.
we were like, you know what? My kids were way younger. We're like, we're going to do a day at Disney and then go drive to see my sister. And I mean, like so many meltdowns. But there is nothing like that parent solidarity when you're like, yes, I see your
Together.
child having a meltdown. Like I, at one point was like just walking around the park. My husband and the boys are riding rides and I was pushing Harriet in the stroller because she was taking a nap.
Yeah.
And I was just like walking around high-fiving parents whose kids were
Yep.
having meltdowns. I'm like, you're doing a great job.
Yep,
All of our
exactly.
kids are crying, but this is fun. We're
Yeah.
having a
Yeah.
good time.
You can't be mad at the parents whose kids are going crazy because you're like 5 seconds ago, that was our child. So you're like, hey, we got you. I'm cheering you on. I'm praying for you because it's the village. We're all in this together.
And we connect over times like that
Yeah.
when he's freaking
Yeah.
out or something major's happening. And we're just like, this is our life.
Yeah.
We got this. I wouldn't want to be dealing with a meltdown with anyone but you right now.
We do say that a lot.
We say that
Yeah.
anytime things are bad, we're like, I wouldn't want to go through this with anyone but you.
I wouldn't want to be broke with anyone else but you. I wouldn't want to be wiping dirty diapers or cleaning dirty diapers.
Or broken down on the side of the road. And that's the thing with the adventure is there's always things that go wrong.
Yeah.
And for me,
Mhm.
I thrive in those moments. I think something has to go wrong for it to be a really good
Yeah.
adventure and for us to remember it. Like those are the things that we're going to remember the most. And even in the book, we talk the whole book is kind of mixed in with
You haven't
little.
technically mentioned it yet.
Oh,
The
my
book.
bad. Well,
Tell
the
us
book
about
is
it.
coming out
There you
soon.
go.
Only a couple weeks away, but it's called Always Choose Adventure. And it's a story of our life, just living through sacrifice and faith and really prioritizing the things in our lives that matter most. And throughout the book, there's a story of a huge road trip, TV show, all kinds of stuff. I won't give too much away, but we had multiple vehicles break down on this trip, end up in a stranger's vehicle. Like they gave it to us to take. And we're like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
But I remember looking back and just being broken down on the side of the road. And Sam and I are like, well, that's what our day consists of. Like, oh, well, we're going to get through it. Everything's going to be
You
good.
can't do anything about it. It happened. So what's already done is done. Now it's like, how do you how do you move forward and how do you keep a good mindset and stuff. You typically are better at it, like like you said, thrive in those situations. I tend to be a little bit more like, "Oh, no, what are we gonna do?"
She's
But
calling AAA, Navy SEALs,
no
everybody.
one's
Just like
answering.
somebody show up and help us right now.
But that is where all the memories come in. Like, I feel like when
Yeah.
I think about my own family, like as a child, all this traveling that we did where something went wrong. Like as adults now, those are still the things that we talk about. Like it's
Yeah.
not as much the like peak moments that we're remembering. Now,
Mhm.
obviously
Yeah.
those too, but it is
Yeah.
like, remember this train ride or like when we were in the Boundary Waters, it was pouring rain and it was horrible because I'm not super outdoorsy, it turns out. Like, yeah, those are where it's all good. So much that you can learn from those because
Mhm.
obviously the adventures and the things that go wrong and the things that go right, there's a lot of unknown there, and that's
Mhm.
challenging. And you have to work through that adversity, and modeling that for your kids is so important.
Yeah.
And it can teach them so much about life in a really unique, more hands on way than just being like, this is how you change a tire,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, in those moments, there are so many learning lessons for the kids, and they'll even bring that back up to us like, Dad, remember when we learned about this?
Mhm.
And I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, I do. Remember when you learned not to go to next to a bee's nest? Yeah, that's one that's going to stick with you forever. And
Mhm.
I feel like that's where real life happens is when
Mhm.
problems arise, when you're out of your comfort zone and your kids get to see who you are as parents in a raw sense and see how you deal with those. Like when Sam and I have a disagreement, the kids get to see that and how to deal with it in a healthy way
Yeah.
versus the way that they handle it is just yell at each other and then come scream and cry to us. And I'm like, no, this is how we deal with things. This is how, like, I tell both the kids, I ask both the kids all the time, I say, who can you control? Me.
Mhm.
Okay. So you can't control what the other kid did or the person, out in public did or your sister did. You have to control you and how you handle it. And so I feel like without that, I mean, with all good times, how are your kids going to understand how to deal with things like that?
Yeah. And in
Yeah.
those some of those times we were like in our RV and they ask all the time, when are we gonna go on a road trip again? Or when are we gonna, get to travel in an RV again? They don't see those bad things. They just see, the fun that came from it. But yeah, learning so much from those experiences.
Yeah. And how do you feel like some of the intentionality of living an adventurous life and experiencing just fun together has like shaped your family culture or maybe influenced how your kids view God and life in their own faith?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so when we go on these adventures, I mean, everything that we do in life and as a family and communicating with the kids, it's all centered around our relationship with Christ
Mhm.
and our view of who God is and the role that he plays in our lives and why we're around. And so when we're out in nature and showing them things, they're asking questions and it's challenging for me too because kids come up with some pretty deep questions and I'm like, I don't even know how to answer this. I should probably know how to answer this. Like, well, but how did God make these mountains?
So like
That's a great
when
question.
I
Like
get
he
of it.
just spoke, he can speak and these things come into existence. And yeah, they talk about heaven and they talk about why are some animals bad and some animals good. And it's incredible to see their faith being realized and me not like enforcing the way that I view things. I want them to creatively go about like exploring what faith is and who God is and who Jesus is and what they mean to us and not not that my parents like drilled things into me, but I realized that my relationship and my walk and closeness with Christ started when I stopped doing things the way that my parents did them, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. It was a very
Mhm.
traditional, very religion based faith. They encourage relationship with Christ, but it was like when I made it my own and I go, wait a minute, maybe that wasn't right the way that my church taught it.
Mhm.
Maybe I need to figure this out for myself. And so I try to let the kids figure things out like that, explore things like that. And I mean, even when it's not a spiritual thing or a religious thing, but just like, hey, you walk close to that edge, you're going to slip and it's going to be really scary. And I can either tell you that now or I can let you experience that. And obviously, if it's too dangerous, I don't. But I want them to experience consequences. I want them to
Mhm.
realize that there's things that they should and shouldn't do. And the best way for them to learn that is to actually experience it versus me tell them. Like I could tell them 100 times the pan's hot, don't touch it. the first time they touch it and realize how hot it is, they'll never do it again.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just kind of cool to see how their worldview is, how their perception of pain or fear or anything like that come into play when you're out away from your house where they're used to everything around them.
I feel like on a less spiritual side of things, when we adventure causes us to, like Dan mentioned, we're now in a house settled down and we still keep the same mindset as when we traveled and when we lived small in an RV. Like we try to be very intentional about the things that we have in the home. We joked before hopping on the call that we have 4 cabinets in our house right now, but I realized this other cabinet wasn't working for me and I needed a different one. But then it's like, how can I use those other cabinets to bless someone else, to give to someone else? I don't need 4 in my house. So staying with like only what you need, what you're using, each item that comes in our house, we want it to be used. If we don't use things for like 6 to 9 months, we always call like it like we're ready to declutter and do like a Goodwill haul. Like if it's not being used and it's in a box, it's gone because if we don't need it for that long, we're obviously not going to touch it for the next couple years. So it's just taking up space. And for me, like the extra clutter and things that take up space for both of us causes like not, I don't know when to say anxiety, but just like overwhelm where it's just not needed, whether it's stuff or just like intentional time together. We still keep that same mindset from our adventurous times or from our adventures in our home and in our life now, even though it looks a little bit different than it used to.
And it's cool to see the kids, like even when we talk about it, well, we could either spend 3 weeks on Facebook Marketplace trying to sell this stuff, or we could find somebody to bless with it. And so the kids, when they're done with their toys, they're like, can we give these to another kid? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And like we do it before Christmas. We honestly do it probably
It's like 4 times a year at least.
I was going to say it's like once a month sometimes, and then like 3 to 4 times a year for sure. But they'll go through and it's just like getting rid of all their stuff. And they're like, so-and-so really liked this. Can I give it to him? Sure. Or their friends will come over and the friends come up to me and they're like, hey, Uncle Dan, can I have this? Kenyon said I could have it. And I was like, if he said you can have it, you can, like, I don't care. It's his toy. If he doesn't want it and he wants you to have it, absolutely. And so it's cool to see like the selfless acts that they perform based on the life that we've lived and being an example of that to them. So.
This came to mind again when we were talking about Disney. When I was talking to the kids about Disney the other day, I was like, okay, you guys had fun, but I'm like, would you rather go to Disney for a day like we did? Or would you rather go on a weekend camping trip where we're camping with our friends, we're getting to do s'mores, have glow sticks, and hang out for the weekend? Which one? And like immediately Ember was like, camping. I'm like, yes, my girl.
That is way cheaper.
It was cute to see, yes, they had fun, but kids are really simple and you don't have to, a lot of people don't have the means to go to Disney and spend thousands of dollars to like take this family trip out of state. They're so simple. They just want like your time and like some imagination and they're happy.
Yeah. Well, I think so much of what we're saying is just like getting them out of routine and seeing something bigger than their own world, like we're in, I mean, this is another big adventure, but we were in Guatemala visiting some friends who are missionaries, and there's so much poverty there and so many stray dogs. And our kids could not, for the life of them, figure out why there were so many like starving dogs. And they're like, why don't people just bring their dogs in and feed them? And I'm like, well, honey, like they can't feed their kids. The priorities here are different. And that just opened up their minds in a way that just to see it so tangibly, it's like, not everyone lives life like we do in America, or not everyone gets to live and do these adventures. And it's just good for them to see that their lives aren't necessarily normal compared to the rest of the world. So like as followers of Jesus, then how do you go out and live reflecting him with the means that you have? And that's hard to do because kids are, I mean, we're all selfish as humans.
Yeah.
So getting them out is just so good for them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, and teaching them about things like tithing and giving to the church and missions. We told the kids, we explained the concept of tithing, tried to help them to fully understand it, but at this age it was pretty difficult. And they're like, okay, so if I have $50, I will bring $5 to the church. I go, yes. And then they go, and then what do we do? I'm like, well, we give it to the church and, we give it to Jesus. And they go, he's going to be there? And I'm like, well, I mean, he's there every Sunday, right? No, we give it.
It's so cute.
I'm like, it gives to the mission of Jesus and what Jesus wants. And like more than anything, he wants us to love him and love others. And the way that we do that is we can give to all these different things. Or when we were in the RV full time, a hurricane happened down in Florida. And so Sam and I kind of looked at each other and we're like, should we go down? Like, let's go down and help. And an organization that we had both worked for, they were down there doing a response. And so we just packed up the RV and just drove all the way. I think we were in like Utah
Like
or
Oregon
something
or
at that
something.
point.
Yeah, it
And
was.
so it was like all the way across the country, but we called a couple people we knew and said, hey, we're going to be down there. Put us to work. Tell us what you want us to do.
Mhm.
And so the kids getting to see that and like, we want to hand out waters. We want to do this. We want to do that. Going and seeing the actual warehouses where they store all this food. And they're like, what is all this? They have juice boxes. Like
I
there's
wanted
so
juice
many,
box.
or they have Nutty Buddies.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, here, you can have a couple. And they're like, what is all this for? And we're like, we're giving it to people who lost everything. And they're like, oh, I would definitely want this if I lost
Yeah.
everything, you know? And so
Yeah.
they get to see like missions at work in person or through the church, or like understand exactly how they can play a part in God's purpose and what he's doing already. And so it's just wild. Like more than anything, we didn't get into social media um to be famous. We didn't get into social media to make a lot of money. The biggest thing for us is we wanted more time freedom. We wanted time with each other. We didn't want to have to call someone and say, hey, can I spend an extra day this weekend with my family? You know, like I shouldn't have to ask permission for that. And so we said, let's start working for ourselves. And then once she started documenting things on social media, it kind of kicked off. And at that point, I realized that that needs to be our priority, is what our time is spent doing. And so, yeah, it's never been chasing anything else other than time freedom, time spent with each other, time spent with the kids. And now our kids don't have any concept of time at all. I'm like, it's funny because for me, I grew up with I didn't grow up with a single dad. I grew up with a mom in the house and a dad that drove truck over the road. And so it was like maybe 5-6 days he'd be gone, and then he'd be back, get a good night of rest, and leave early the next morning. And for our kids, it's like, if we don't play with them every other hour, they're like, you never play with us. I'm like, whoa, you have no idea what never play with you means.
You have it really good.
But it's like, it doesn't matter how much of our time they have, they always want more. And I want that. Like, I want them to crave time as a family, to not just like have to have something distracting them or entertaining them, but to like actually enjoy time with us. And I get to see that. And I mean, they get more time with us than at this point, probably more time with us than I had in my whole childhood, like the full 18 years I was in the house. And so it's just really cool to build that connection, to like know our kids, to know what they want, not just what they need, not just X, Y, and Z, but like I know my kids, and it feels really cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've talked about some adventures, like some big adventures that we've done. But I also, like, preparing for this, I was starting to think, like, you know what? We have a free weekend and we should probably, like, let's go on a hike and find a waterfall this weekend or something. You know, like, there's so many little things that you can do.
Yeah.
So, talk to the person who's listening who's like, okay, well, I'm not going to Disney tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm not going to Guatemala. I'm
Please
not going
don't.
to get an RV. Like,
Yeah.
this is not, I work 9 to 5. Like, so what are some like small adventures that people can just realistically do like this weekend that can offer some of these same benefits that are just easy in like real
Cheaper.
life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Real
I'm
life.
a big fan of Pinterest when it comes to this. So anytime we take like a trip to, some random state we've never been, or I mentioned to Dan the other day that we have a couple weeks before school starts and I want to like do some local adventuring in our own backyard in Missouri that we've yet to see. And I'll just go to Pinterest and type in like hidden gems in Missouri, photo ops in Missouri, top 10 restaurants in Missouri. And maybe there's like a barbecue place 2 hours away from you that's like killer 10 out of 10 rating, like the best burnt ends you've ever tasted. Drive a couple hours, go eat dinner as a family, go on a picnic, or, maybe there's a hike around there or a fun photo backdrop. I'm like a visual person. So I like looking at Pinterest because it's like, here's the, top 10 hidden gems. And there was like a spring, there was like an overlook, like a mural painted on the wall with like these butterfly wings that you can take a picture with, and like a restaurant that I'm like, that caught my eye and that seems fun for me. And it also includes like adventuring for like the kids and good food for Dan. So like we're all happy. But I would recommend just looking in your state because there's at least a corner of the state that you haven't adventured yet, or maybe in your own city that you're at. Maybe there's a restaurant you've never tried. We are creatures of habit and we almost go to the same place for date night, but or every like weekend because it's good and we love it. And we have no complaints. We know what to expect, but we try to like step out of our comfort zone a little bit, try new things. But yeah, to not take a big, huge adventure, but just do like a day to drive a couple hours away, try some new food, go on a hike, take a photo op, and then drive home.
Yeah.
And you feel like you accomplished so much without spending so much, but then like you have those memories to keep.
One of our favorite places that we had gone, it was a total fluke thing that we discovered it. We would drive the same highway home every single day, and I would look down and there was a big field and there would be like one or two people on bikes or walking or jogging on a trail, and I was like, that's 5 minutes from our house. We should just load
Yeah.
up the kids, take the scooters down there. We'll walk, they can scooter. And so we go down there, and right away we realize like 200 yards from where you park, there's a beautiful little creek. It's 6 inches deep,
Mm.
and there was a trail that went right down into it. And so I was like, okay, let's go home, get some swim trunks or swimsuits
Mhm.
for the kids, and a couple folding chairs, and we'll just come hang out here. That turned into like the
Weekly
hot
thing.
spot. Sam had friends like, when are you guys going to the creek next? We want to come, because she would invite other families and they would
Yeah.
come, and the kids would just be flipping over rocks,
No
trying to
one's
skip
drowning.
them, catch
'Cause, like,
crawdads, or they'd
sure.
bring their toys, and one of them would go like 50 yards up the river, and it was the same depth the whole way. And
Yeah.
so they would just let it go, and then the other kids had to wait and see who it came to. And so that became like a weekly adventure for us. If not a couple times a
Mhm.
week, we would be there in the summer, and a lot of other people got to experience it too. And so those are the types of things that I encourage people to do. If there's a nature trail close by, if there's a bike trail, just get out of town a little bit and see what's around your house,
Yeah.
because I bet you we went there 50 times.
And Pinterest helps find those things. Like another place just like that we found out of nowhere was we lived in Colorado for 2 years, but we would drive back to vacation to Colorado all the time. Go through Kansas, the most boring state you will ever drive. You just want to sleep through it. But there's this place called the Chalk Pyramids. It looks like it's straight out of Utah, but more of like white arches instead of the like clay red arch that you see in Moab or Arches National Park. That it's called Chalk Pyramids. It's in the middle of a cow field. You just drive up
You're
on this
driving
thing
through somebody's like
property.
farm,
Yes.
basically. Yeah.
There's like cows coming up to our vehicle and it is so beautiful. But if like that was something that you don't hear about, it's not like
Right.
publicized, but something that like on Pinterest or another friend of ours that travels, like I found it from them. Who would have ever known that a beautiful place like that? Just look up Chalk
And
Pyramids
it was
in
like
Kansas.
35 minutes out of the
So
way.
pretty. Yeah, it was just a short little detour, but if we wouldn't have tried to like, take a detour, be willing to try something new, we would have never seen it. And that was like, that's some of my favorite pictures to date is going there.
Yeah, and that's a great example. Like almost everybody goes and visits family at some point throughout the year, whether it's Easter or
That's
Christmas,
like their family
Thanksgiving.
vacation.
And it's like, leave 6 hours earlier and pick like
Mm.
two spots that you've never stopped. Because if it's a family like mine was growing up, we stop at the exact same gas station. You have a set amount of time. If anything else changes, I'm pulling over on the side of the road. You're getting out and peeing on the side of the highway. Like we only make this amount of stops. But I remember times where my dad was like, I saw there's a road that I've driven driving semi truck, and there's always deer out there. Like not just 20. He said there will be at least 300 deer out in this field. And I was like, there's no way. And sure enough, we go back and we drive this back road and we get out there, and it was springtime. Well, all of these does had fawns. And so there's like deer and
Aw.
baby deer, like twins,
That's so cute.
triplets, like jumping around. And it was like one of the only things I remember about driving to my mom's sister's house. We did it several times a year, but I'm like, it's the same thing over and over and over. But I'll never forget that one time. I was like, man, this is an hour and a half out of the way, but let's just do it. And we did. And I was like, I had never seen so many deer in my life. And now I'm a hunter. So I'm like, I need to remember where that field was.
Can we go back?
Different ideas now.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just kind of to wrap us up, like what type of encouragement would you give to families who are listening and they're feeling stuck in their routine and just want to connect more with each other and with God and get out and experience some fun together?
Yeah. Like we talked about practical ways to try new things, to get out of your comfort zone, whether it's trying a new restaurant for dinner, doing, a different day trip on a Saturday. Don't make it complicated. We actually have like an adventure calendar that we are handing out with our book as like a pre-order freebie, but it talks about like just fun adventures that you can do every day. Go to an ice cream shop, go on a bike ride in your neighborhood, build a fort that do something small, take a different route home.
Well, and I feel like hands-on things that everybody can get involved in would be great. Board games. My family was too competitive for board games. Like, if we played board games, I mean, half of us would go to a hotel
You
for
don't
the night.
talk for
But with us, it's like we have a bunch of board games or puzzles. Like,
Mhm.
have a family puzzle, clear the dining room table off. Everybody jump in. Hey, you guys are finding the edge pieces. We're going to get started on this corner and do things like that where you can interact, you can have fun, but you can all be working towards the same goal. And I think just those types of things. Put down the screens. Like a movie night's great. Don't get me wrong. I love movies. Sam's not a movie person at all,
Yeah.
but like every probably other week we go, hey, it's movie night. We have these little tackle boxes that we put snacks in for the kids,
Yeah.
and they get like 5 Teddy Grahams and 2 Oreos and a couple fruit snacks. And we just make it a big deal where we like set the couch up to where we can all cuddle on it. We bring
Yeah.
all the best blankets down there and we just sit and we pick out a movie together. And
Yeah.
so finding something like that where everybody is either locked in on the same thing or trying to accomplish the same goal, I feel like is a great way to connect, to get out of the routine of
Mhm.
just, well, it's 8 o'clock. We're going to scroll and then fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's a good, fun adventure and the kids will look forward to it. Or have a homemade pizza night. Hey, everyone gets to make their own pizza. Let's see how it goes.
But also to be intentional, like a good reminder that, we prioritize family time, but we also prioritize just time together because at the end of the day, when the kids are grown and gone, we are all each other has. And on the days where it's hard and there's emotions, there's tantrums, like we are leaning on each other. And so when the kids go to bed, like our kids do an early bedtime, probably more than a lot of other kids. They go to bed at like 7:30. But from that time on, like that's our time together. That's our time to whether it's clean up or we'll hang out in the pool together or we'll like, watch a show together at night, that we prioritize our time together,
Mhm.
date nights, whether grandparents watch them or you trade off with a friend. Hey, this week we're watching your kids while you guys go on a date, or you watch our kids the next week while we go on a date. But then also beyond that too is like your own time. Deanna is really good about this. Since we've gotten married, he's had like weekly guy nights every Thursday since like I can remember. And I'm thankful he gets that time because as spiritually the leader of our home, like he needs that time to refresh, to enjoy conversation, to like feel himself again before coming back and like leading us again that I was used to. I wasn't used to taking my own time as a mom because it's generally a little bit harder for us to step away. But
Mhm.
about a year ago, I started like a cooking club and a craft night once a month. I'd take 2 different days a month and invite girls over. Dan has time with the kids, just him. On his guys' nights, I have time with the kids, just me. And it it adds so much to your fulfillment in life. So yes, as a family, like we are so fulfilled in our time together. Dan and I are so fulfilled together to be like when you can step away as a mom or as a dad, you feel like just so refreshed and like I can come back stronger and do, my like mom life, my dad life job even better. That be intentional about that time and prioritize because it is so important.
And one last thing, I would highly recommend anybody with kids to have one-on-one time with kids.
Mm.
Cause
Mm.
like I'll play with both the kids at the same time and it's fun, but I really get to experience like quality time if I'm the only one taking our daughter to cheer
Mhm.
or I'm just taking my son to the store.
Conversation.
Like the conversations are unbelievable. The things that are said and like the personality that comes out when it's not siblings side by side arguing or fighting over something. It's like it's insane how much more you can connect with your kids when you spend actual one time with
Yeah.
them. And so I would highly recommend that. So yeah,
Yeah.
do big family things and do a bunch of individual things.
And those of you who are listening, we're not perfect. Like that's one reason why we wanted to share our life online is because when I was a fresh mom of two scrolling, everyone's life looked perfect online. And I'm sitting struggling in my like newborn phase of life and wondering, okay, why is my life not like that? Or why am I not happy? Or why this? Where when we wanted to share life, we wanted to share those hard and raw moments of life isn't always happy. Dean and I aren't always getting along. Our kids are crazy and we have to discipline them and, they have meltdowns, that remind yourself that you're not alone. Like, you may not see it pictured because no one wants to air their dirty laundry online, but life isn't perfect and you're not alone. What you're going through, another mom's going through, another family's going through, another couple's going through, and you have the Lord to lean on, because I feel like you can feel so alone in seasons of life where that's not the case at all, but it can feel very isolating. So we're not perfect, but our book, our sharing our life online is just a small window into how we're not perfect, but we also have fun. So it
Yeah.
makes up
Can
for it.
you can you tell us where we can get a copy of your book
Yeah.
and how we can connect with you guys and follow along, like where are all of your channels?
Yeah, definitely. So our book, Always Choose Adventure, will be going live August 26th. You can get it from all major retailers, Amazon, Walmart, Target, Barnes& and Noble.
And you
And
can
then
pre-order.
you can pre-order, yes. And then, yeah, our platforms are We Are Dan and Sam. We share on all platforms. He shares more hunting content on his page, The Nomadic Outdoorsman. But yeah, come hang out with us, read our book. We'd love to get to know you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll link all that in show notes so people can easily find you and connect and do
Sounds
all those
great.
things. But yeah, thank you so much for being with me, you guys.
Thank
I
you so
just
much,
really
Steph. We appreciate
appreciate
it.
chatting with you and all of your insights.
It was fun. Thanks for having
Awesome.
us.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Christian parenting.